Welcome to the Vigor Life Podcast, a source of inspiration, lessons, stories, skill sets, mindsets, and strategies to invigorate and expand all areas of your life. Let's go. What's going on? Luka here from the Vigor Life Podcast. And today, first of all, I got my hands underneath the table because Gene said I can't touch anything because I'm too loud on the mics. So I feel like I'm a little like kid in school that got in trouble. Just looking down with my hands down. But check this out. Today's podcast is going to be about the one thing. And let me explain this to you because it's kind of been super powerful in my life and also with all the clients in every area, whether it's on a fitness end or the business end. But the most prevalent just in my personal life, right? And here's the thing. How many times have you taken on something, right? So you get motivated, you get excited about it. You're like, this is it. Obviously, New Year's resolution is one of those times, right? Where you're pissed off, you're upset that, you didn't achieve the things that you wanted to, or you fell off, or, you started something, fell off. And then you go like, now I'm going to go all in. Like I'm just going to go as hard as I possibly can. I'm going to start training 4 or 5 days a week. My nutrition, I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to stay on a meal plan. Yada, 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 right? And so it's like this humongous list of things that you end up trying to achieve. And, the results show, the reality shows that that's very hard. And here's, I keep bringing up these statistics because they're important. And I don't remember from which study this is, but that, if you're trying to take on 3 or more habits at one time, the success rate of that is about 5%. So less than 1 out of 10, right? If it's about 2 habits, and we're talking long-term habit change, right? If it's 2 habits, then it's about 30 or 33%. But if you only try to change 1 habit at a time, the success rate is over 80%. I think 85 or 87, something like that. And like I said, don't quote me on exact numbers, but it's right around there. And it shows you how powerful it is to like really just try to change one thing. And the reason why people fail taking on too much, right? Then the conversation that I'll have with other people and what my coaches have with me, is this question is if you keep falling off is like doing less. And then doing less makes you go like, but I really want this and I really want to go hard and I really want to shift stuff. But I'd have you consider something. If you change just one, I would say it's called a keystone habit, like basically one habit that kind of affects all the other ones, right? How much better you can be and how much your life can change. Now, if you just changed one habit every 2 weeks, or maybe 3 or 4, but let's call it 2. Let's say you change a small habit every 2 to 3 weeks, right? 2 weeks, it means you change 26 habits a year. If it was 3, it'd be less, right? We'd be talking about a little less, like 18, I think, or something like that, right around there. But so if every 3 weeks you change a habit, you change 18 habits a year. Now that's humongous. If habits are things like going to, to sleep an hour earlier and waking up an hour earlier, right? If that's one habit, like, holy shit, like how much more can you get done? How much more rest can you get? If you're training 3 days a week because you have an, accountability group, right? That's a humongous habit. And so like if you put 10% of your earnings away into an account that accrues over time, right? That has a compound interest. If that's one habit, now you can start seeing that power. Like over a year, you can completely change and transform your life. So I'm coming to, into this conversation off of this week, having some talks and myself having a talk with my coach, Garrett, on what changes my day or what can turn my day into shit sometimes, right? Quite a few of those. But one of the things is getting up just a little bit earlier and having my little 30-minute ritual in the morning, right? My 30-minute ritual in the morning is pretty much I make tea, I read for 10 to 15 minutes out of a book it's enlightening. Let's just say that I'm getting some sort of, what for some it may be the Bible, for some it may be Byron Katie's The Work. It might be, it can be anything that's giving you insights into life, right? So 10 to 15 minutes, I take a note of a lesson or two that I learned from it, and then I meditate, right? After I meditate, I just like write out what are the things that day that I need to get accomplished, right? It's a 20 to 30 minute segment of the day. Sometimes I'll turn on some cool music, like while I'm meditating. Sometimes like if I'm a little groggy, before I do anything, I might put on some like Eric Thomas or something like, but the point is they're little ritual, right? And it puts me into a state of, let's just call it a state of power. Like I'm amped up. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not like checking email first thing in the morning. I'm not getting up and just going crazy. So those 20 minutes, right? 20 to 30 minutes, that little ritual right there can change everything, right? I mean, it can literally affect half of my day, how much I get done and so on and so forth. The other thing we talked about is like, what are the most productive times for me? When do I think the best to be able to create content, to do, to write blogs, shoot videos, create sequences, new programs and plans for the gym, people's program, like whatever it may be, right? Where I really need to think a lot. And that time for me is like 10 to 2. So, me and Gene are shooting this podcast right now. It's like right around 1:30, 1 p.m. And these are the times that I do my best work. Now, if I don't do the morning ritual, then I can't do my best work from 10 to 2. Then the whole day becomes a clusterfuck. Correct. So one thing can like shift my whole day. And this is where, I'm going to bring it back to like a nutritional thing. Actually, from my world, I found myself getting up in the morning, and when I am kind of stressed, I just kind of like run out the door. I get my smoothie, but then, I'm taking a protein bar, not necessarily the things that fit my goals the best. So I created a thing that would knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. So after I do some of the morning work, I would basically go to a local cafe that serves breakfast. So I get an omelet. And like while I'm waiting for the omelet, I'm either reading a book, listening to podcast, listening to audiobook. So I'm getting like 20, 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes of just alone time, me time, eating something that's in line with what I want to achieve and making it a ritual. So it's a habit, right? Now with one habit, now I'm eating better in the morning. I get more work done. I get some extra relaxed time down, take some notes before I hit and start doing my content and work like that, right? So this is the power of that one thing that is so important. And like it gets downgraded because it's like, well, it can't just be, you want me to just do what? Right? It's like hey, just drink a gallon of water a day. What? That's it? Okay, do it. It's going to affect other things. Like I said, it's a keystone habit. It's going to affect other things in your day. Same thing with little things like, oh man, I'm shitty at saving money. I'm just shitty at saving money. Okay, as soon as your check hits the bank account, let 10, 15% go somewhere else where you can't touch it, right? You just automated that. And that little habit now makes you see what you actually have, and then you got to work with that. Because guess what? Everybody figures out a way to do things, right? So I want you to not discount, right? I want you to look at like the one thing that you could do that can turn a lot of things around. And, what we start with is like, sometimes it's like, hey, I like to say, what's the hardest thing, right? It's just like in the morning, do the hardest thing first, everything else becomes easier. Okay, what's one of the hardest things that you could address and just focus on that one, just that one, nothing else, right? Whether it's going to sleep earlier, getting up earlier in the morning so you're not stressed out and you have you time that puts you in a place of power, whether it's one meal, right, that's really bothering you or that's really giving you problems, address that one meal. Forget about the other ones. Just address that one right now, right? And, what helps you with the rest of the things is, guess what? Accountability. I'm going to keep bringing this up, but, when I sign up for, my striking and my mitt work now, like I got to be there. Right. When I have to be on an accountability call with a coach, I got to be there. When I have a group of people that I'm training with, because I committed to them that we're going to train together, it's like I have to be there now. So how you can enhance this one thing is to get coaches, be in groups to have accountability, right? And then things like going to the gym with your workout crew, whether it's 5:30 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning or 6 p.m. or whatever it is, it becomes a ritual because you don't want to let people down. You're committed to them. You respect them. You love them. And you hold them accountable. They hold you accountable, right? So that's another way to where you can kind of stack and almost cheat a little bit, right? You can cheat a little bit on it by getting coaches and accountability groups. Okay, so remember those two things. The one thing, right? What is one thing that you really want to or committed to changing, and then just focus on that thing. And actually, I do this weekly now, right? Where it's like, what is this week's focus? If there's a business goal, is like there might be multiple things, but they all work towards one thing, right? The one main thing. And the other thing is like find accountability. Like I said, invest in people that can help you get to where you want to go and hold you accountable. And now it's almost like you're giving away that. You don't have to worry about it. It's like training, right? You just got to show up. The program's done for you. Like, man, you're getting coached. Your mind doesn't have to do all that for you. Same thing with things in business or in whatever is the gap, right? Think about it. Where you are, where you want to go. What's the bridge? The bridge, a lot of times, accountability groups, coaches, better environments that support your goals and things like that. So, make sure that, remember, it's like at the point that you make a decision, you got to take some action. This is really, really important. When you go like, I have decided today that I'm going to do something. At that point in time, you got to take a step in that direction, whether that's a phone call, going to a website, whether it's sitting down and mapping it out. You got to take some action towards the direction of your goals. All right. So when you get done with this, don't just go like, oh man, that's pretty good stuff. Or, oh, I've already heard that before. Listen, one of my favorite quotes is, you don't know, like, and I'm kind of drawing a blank, but it's like when people say, I know, right? And to know and not to do is not to know. See, I remembered it. To know and not to do is not to know. So you're like, oh, well, I know that. Do you do it? No, then you don't really know it. All right. So that's really important. Take action. Otherwise, all of this was for nothing. I didn't wear my new hoodie and make you feel, really good about my new gear today for nothing. And I don't want that. So go take action. One thing, find accountability and move towards the direction your goals. All right. Luka is out. I'll see you in the next episode of the Vigor Life podcast.